A weathered stone wall hugs the curve of a quiet Tennessee hill, hiding a secret behind wrought iron gates. Beyond them, a country estate where silence hums like a lullaby, the chosen refuge of Bobby Bare, the Grammy-winning troubadour who once ruled country charts and now lives among trees, not trophies. Why did a legend trade spotlight for solitude? Let's step inside and find out. Before the gold records, before the Grammys, before the sold-out tours and quiet country estate, there was Ironton, a small town in Ohio, kissed by coal dust and the clang of trains, where a boy named Bobby Bare learned the sound of struggle long before he ever held a guitar. His mother passed when he was still a child, and with her went the warmth of lullabies and safety. Left to grow up in the raw silence of loss, Bobby found his first salvation not in people, but in sound. He didn't have lessons, he didn't have money, but he had an ear and a dream. Radio static became his classroom. Hank Williams, Ernest Tubb, the voices of the South. They filled his evenings like firelight. He built his first guitar out of scrap wood and string, not out of curiosity, but out of hunger. A hunger to tell stories, to make something real out of the silence around him. But dreams don't bloom easily in poor Midwestern towns. In the 1950s, Bobby packed his songs and headed out, trying to sell what no one seemed to want: his voice. He recorded early rock and roll singles that fell flat. He got drafted into the Army. He nearly gave it all up. And then, a twist of fate. A demo he recorded, just a guide for a friend, ended up being released by the label under the friend's name. The song? The All-American Boy. It shot to #2 on the Billboard Hot 100. Bobby's voice, uncredited, echoed across America. The world was singing his song, but no one knew his name. Most would have been crushed. But Bobby? He was just getting started. When he got out of the Army, fate brought him into the orbit of Chet Atkins, the legendary producer who saw through the dust and disappointment. Atkins signed him to RCA Victor, and that's where everything changed. Shame on Me became his calling card. Then came Detroit City, a song of homesickness that didn't just climb the charts, it cut into hearts. It earned him a Grammy and proved that Bobby Bare wasn't just a singer. He was a storyteller. But he wasn't content to ride waves. He made them. Hits poured in. 500 miles away from home, 4 strong winds, and the haunting Margie's at the Lincoln Park Inn. Bobby's voice, calm, almost conversational, became the sound of the working man's heartbreak. He collaborated with country greats like Skeeter Davis, and even released bold, theatrical songs with Shel Silverstein that no one else dared to touch. By the 1970s, Bobby was bending country's rules. He embraced live recordings with real audiences, sang dark comedy ballads like Marie Laveau that topped charts, and even recorded albums with his own family, including his young son Bobby Bare Jr. on the touching Daddy What If, which earned them both a Grammy nomination. He didn't chase fame. He never chased anything. He simply walked his own road, through RCA, Mercury, Columbia, letting the music speak louder than the machine. While others burned out or bowed out, Bobby adapted. He explored Southern rock, returned to roots country, hosted his own television series, and became a soft-spoken pillar of Nashville's creative community. His songs stopped being just hits. They became cultural keepsakes. But through it all, Bobby Bare never forgot where he came from. The boy from Ironton, Ohio, who once built a guitar out of scraps, eventually built a career out of sincerity, resilience, and soul. And now, after decades of touring the world and standing under countless spotlights, he's found peace not in applause, but in the hush of rolling Tennessee hills, which leads us to a house, his house, nestled in the quiet green. So what does home look like for a man who's seen it all? Let's open the gate and take a look. country estate in Nashville. At first glance, it looks like just another hidden gem nestled in the Tennessee hills. But once the gate opens, everything changes. Welcome to Bobby Bare's $1 million estate. Not just a home, but a living ballad of calm, craftsmanship, and country soul. Tucked behind wrought iron gates and a canopy of tall, whispering trees, this property doesn't shout. It sings. The driveway curves gently, stones crunching beneath your tires as if keeping rhythm with a distant banjo. The house itself stands quietly elegant, a blend of southern charm and refined restraint. No ostentatious columns, no gleaming gold, just warm hardwood, hand-laid stone, and the subtle grace of a man who has nothing left to prove. Step through the front door and you're greeted by sunlight cascading across wide plank floors. The living room opens like a story. Tall ceilings stretch above, giving air and space for memories to breathe. Dark wooden beams run overhead, grounding the space like a familiar lyric. Built-in bookshelves, walls clad in rich paneling, and a fireplace that seems made for midnight jam sessions. This isn't just where Bobby lives. This is where he reflects. To the right, the dining room. A place for old friends, laughter, and home-cooked meals. Imagine Chris Christopherson or Waylon Jennings dropping by for dinner back in the day. It's not hard. The room still hums with the ghost of stories once told here. The kitchen? A masterpiece of function and beauty. Wolf and Sub-Zero appliances gleam beneath quartz countertops. The cabinetry is finely crafted, the kind only someone with deep appreciation for details would choose. A breakfast nook sits bathed in morning light, where Bare is known to sit quietly, coffee in hand, notebook open, perhaps scribbling a new verse. To the left, a cozy office lined with dark wood, custom shelving, and a view of the back lawn. It's a space made for letters, lyrics, or just staring out into the green Tennessee quiet. Then there's the master suite, a room where time seems to slow. It opens directly onto the backyard, through glass doors that let in the breeze and the chirping of birds. Inside, a soaking tub waits beneath a window that frames the morning sky. A marble walk-in shower stands next to his and hers vanities, while separate walk-in closets keep stage suits on one side, flannel shirts on the other. And upstairs? That's where the real magic happens. 3 spacious bedrooms await visiting children, grandchildren, or old bandmates. But the crown jewel is the 36 by 21-foot entertainment room, a sprawling, sun-filled space that doubles as memory vault and hideaway. Here, Bobby keeps a small home bar stocked not just with bourbon, but with stories. Framed photos line the walls, some faded, some signed. A Grammy Award sits casually on a shelf as if it wandered in and decided to stay. Outside, the estate unfolds in quiet, deliberate layers. The backyard is a soft breath of nature, lovingly landscaped, with a full-length stone wall embracing it like a hug. There's a built-in fountain gurgling softly beneath oak trees, and stone steps leading to walking trails that twist and wind through 1.76 acres of private peace. At night, landscape lighting casts soft glows on every path, every branch. It's not for show, it's for serenity. Because this is where Bobby Bare finds stillness, the kind you can't fake, buy, or record in a studio. The estate sits just minutes from Nashville's heart. Schools, shops, and restaurants are a short drive away. But once inside these gates, you'd never know. It feels like a world of its own. This is not the house of a man chasing fame. It's the home of someone who's already found what matters: space to breathe, silence to think, and beauty that doesn't demand attention. And perhaps that's the greatest metaphor of all. For a man who sang of leaving, wandering, and longing. Bobby Bare built a home where the journey finally ends. But this isn't the only house that holds his heart. There's one more place, farther north, where roots run deep. Shall we go see it? House in Ohio. If Nashville is where Bobby Bare found peace, then Ironton, Ohio is where his soul was shaped. And tucked away on a sweeping 6-acre stretch of green hills and quiet winds stands the home that feels less like a destination and more like a memory. This $500,000 rustic modern estate isn't just a retreat. It's a return to the beginning, to the soil that raised him, to the silence that taught him to listen, and to the struggles that taught him to sing. The house rises from the earth like it belongs there. Not flashy, not loud, just strong, warm, and grounded. Like the man who calls it his own. High-vaulted ceilings give breath to the space. Stone fireplaces anchor the rooms. Wooden beams stretch across ceilings like branches reaching for something lost. Inside, the living areas unfold with intention, open, inviting. Sunlight pours through large windows, casting golden reflections off wood floors and warm-colored walls. The main level connects seamlessly, kitchen, dining room, and lounge blending into one another in a dance of family comfort. The kitchen is fully equipped, but it's the simplicity that stands out. Here, meals aren't about presentation. They're about presence, gatherings, conversations. A song strummed on a nearby guitar. One room over, there's a cozy den with a TV and a small vinyl collection. Bare's own records sit side by side with those who inspired him. Hank, Willie, Christofferson, Silverstein. Each one a chapter in his life's symphony. Walk past the sunlit hallway and you reach the indoor pool, a surprising touch of indulgence for a man so grounded. Next to it, a hot tub, a sauna, and a lounge area with soft towels and softer voices. You can almost picture Bobby and his son, Bobby Bare Jr., sitting here after a late-night writing session, sharing stories, swapping chords. Upstairs, the master suite offers sweeping views of the Ohio woods. In the fall, the leaves erupt in crimson and amber, turning every window into a painting. There's a second bedroom, too, quiet, filled with books and old photographs, perhaps meant for visiting family or an old friend on the road. But the real heart of this home lies in the basement. 3 additional bedrooms, a sprawling entertainment space with a fireplace and custom bar. It's the kind of room where jam sessions happen after midnight, where whiskey and laughter flow in equal measure, where memories aren't just made, they're kept. Step outside and the land greets you like an old friend. A wide deck wraps around the back, offering space for cookouts, songwriting, or simply sitting and watching deer move slowly through the woods. And in the driveway, a wide garage and parking space big enough to fit not just cars, but stories, road trips, tour buses, and long-lost arrivals. This home isn't just where Bobby Bare goes when he wants to get away. It's where he goes to remember, to reconnect with the kid who once carved guitars out of scraps, to feel the wind from the same direction it always blew, to let the silence remind him how far he's come. Because even after all the fame, the fortune, and the applause, the whisper of home is louder than any encore. But while his houses reflect where he's been, it's the wealth behind those walls that tells the real story. So how did a boy from Ironton build a legacy worth millions? In music, memories, and more. $2 million. That's the number you'll find if you search Bobby Bare's net worth today. But what that figure doesn't show, can't show, is how quietly, patiently, and authentically it was earned. There was no overnight fortune, no flash-in-the-pan breakthrough, just a slow, steady climb, like a country melody winding its way through the hills. But money was never the end of the story, because while Bobby Bare built a legacy through song, he also left footprints in the lives of others, through acts of giving that rarely made the headlines. Let's explore the heart behind the generosity. Philanthropy. Bobby Bare never needed flashing lights to be seen, and he never needed applause to feel fulfilled, because behind every quiet note he sang, there was always a heart quietly giving back. His journey into philanthropy didn't begin with grand announcements or multi-million-dollar foundations. It began, like most things in his life, with a simple act of kindness. In the early 2000s, long before celebrity charity became trend, Bobby Bare was quietly stepping onto a stage in Portsmouth, Ohio, not for a paycheck, but to help fund a mural honoring local musicians. The small-town project needed support, so he came home, brought his guitar, and gave them not just music, but momentum. That moment would set the tone for the years to come. In 2008, he joined the Artists and Anglers Fishing Tournament, a fundraiser honoring Porter Wagoner. While others competed for trophies, Bobby was there to raise money for the Opry Trust Fund, which supports country musicians facing hardship. To him, it wasn't about fishing, it was about family. When Nashville faced devastating floods in 2010, Bobby joined a wave of local artists rallying to raise funds through CMA Fest's charity events. While others brought big brands, Bobby brought something more powerful: authenticity, a familiar face, a trusted voice. He didn't have to sing to help. His presence said enough. And then came 2025. At 90 years old, Bobby could have spent his birthday in quiet comfort. Instead, he let the spotlight shine, not on him, but on others. Bobby Bare Week was more than a celebration. It was a movement, concerts, gatherings, and one powerful night at the Basement East, an Americana salute to Bobby Bare. Every ticket sold, every dollar earned, was donated to MusiCares, the Recording Academy's fund for musicians in need. For Bobby, it was full circle. He once struggled to sell songs, once played gigs just to afford food. Now, he ensures others never have to do the same, because that's who he's always been. The man who understood that giving doesn't always have to be loud. It can look like a song shared between generations. A hand placed on a young artist's shoulder backstage. A stage returned to, not for gain, but for good. And just like his music, Bobby's giving doesn't fade. It lingers. In every guitar passed down, in every mural painted, in every struggling songwriter who gets a second chance. Some legends give the world songs. Bobby Bare gave it heart. And in doing so, he revealed something even deeper. That true greatness isn't just measured by what you've earned, but by what you're willing to give away. And now, as we leave the stage, we step into something quieter. The gentle, personal rhythms of a man who never stopped loving the simple life. Let's walk into that world. Personal life. In a world where fame often drowns out everything else, Bobby Bare chose stillness. Not as an escape, but as a homecoming. At the center of that quiet is Jeannie Sterling, his wife, his musical companion, his lifelong anchor. They married in an era where country music was booming and temptations were loud. Yet somehow they stayed untouched by the noise. Their love wasn't loud, but it was lasting. The kind that's built on laughter over coffee, shared glances backstage, and the understanding silence that only two soulmates can share after decades together. Together they raised 3 children, not in the chaos of celebrity, but in the calm of country. Their son, Bobby Bare Jr., inherited more than a name. He inherited a spirit, one that chases music not for fame, but for feeling. While he carved his own path through alternative country and rock, he often returned to the stage beside his father, sometimes in small acoustic shows, other times under the warm lights of Americana festivals, always with that same bond, father and son, string and song, family dinners, long drives through back roads, impromptu jam sessions in the den. These are the memories that fill the walls of both Bare homes. There's no paparazzi, no red carpet, just the hum of a man who never needed more than the people closest to him. And then, there's the rhythm of his everyday life. Mornings begin before the world stirs. Bobby pours his coffee, Black, strong, no frills. He steps out to the porch, watching the mist drift over Tennessee fields. Sometimes he scribbles a line of lyrics. Sometimes he just listens. To bird song, to wind, to the quiet voice within. Afternoons might be spent tending to the garden or on the trails behind his estate, where he walks slowly, deliberately. He says inspiration lives in silence. And it's here, among the rustling leaves and fading sunlight, that melodies come softly to him. Evenings? Maybe a glass of bourbon, maybe a phone call with an old friend. Maybe just the flicker of the fireplace and a record spinning in the background. He doesn't chase relevance. He doesn't care for the digital noise. He lives in the analog, in handwritten letters, in acoustic strings, in the smell of wood smoke and pine. Friends describe him the same way: kind, grounded, thoughtful. A man who listens more than he speaks, who shows up without cameras, who teaches without preaching. To the world, he's a country music hall of famer. To the Grand Ole Opry, he's a restored treasure. But to his grandchildren, he's just Paw Paw Bobby, who tells stories about frogs that sing and ghosts that dance in the cornfields. And that, perhaps, is his real legacy. Not just in what he sang, but in how he lived. Gently, honestly, fully. In the quiet hum of his home, in the soft laugh of his wife, in the next generation's voice, finding its way through the music. Bobby Bear's story continues. Because legends don't fade, they settle into the soil and keep singing, softly, forever. If Bobby Bear's life has shown us anything, it's this. You don't need to be loud to leave a lasting echo. His story is one of quiet grace, unwavering love, and music that heals across generations. If you believe in the power of authentic living and timeless songs, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The silence still sings. Let's listen together.